the High Middle Ages, or the time when our orders are born, are a time of the flourishing of Catholic universities in Europe. And so we're drawn to them early on, so that our background when we come to people was full of a kind of solid learning, from the fathers of the church to the best of the philosophy of the day and so forth. And so there's a tension, I think, in the Franciscan charism, isn't there, about where does education fit in here?
Well, yeah, with St. Anthony is the best example, where he was already learned. He was an Augustinian, canon regular again, and so he was already educated, already had his theology training, and then he gets attracted to the Franciscans, switches to us, and now wants to teach. And Francis's famous quote to him was like, gives him permission, but as long as you don't extinguish the spirit.
Sure.
So there's always been a tension, I think, in the Franciscans, and it still is sort of, while we have our great intellectual tradition on one end, I think there's still a part of many friars who are like that sort of reject that. And I mean, is there any of that in the Dominican tradition, or is that tension? Or
well, I think we get a kind of sense of study can be holy.
Right.
Okay, and there's a way in which the Dominican tradition looks at study as in opposition to the kind of life that somebody had in a monastery, that this becomes part of our conversion to our entire life, to grow in sacred studies, which means the scriptures, and the tradition of the church at the heart of that. So basically what you're doing is feeding your prayer life and feeding your preaching and feeding your contemplation with the studies.
Right.
And when it works that way, it's it's a hand-in-hand thing. It's not like it takes away.
Right.
But you can see how the anxieties about study and curiosity and things like that could enervate somebody, take the life out of their hearts. But we try to integrate that, the study and the sacredness. Because maybe the one way that I like to say this is that God invites our minds into the sanctuary. He invites us to taste and know the good things that He's given us in the Lord, and it's a gift of life.
Right.